Your reality is not objective, and I'm not just saying that to be provocative. In today's video, I'm going to describe what your reticular activating system is in your brain, how it shapes your reality, and other fascinating impacts it has on your life. So what is the reticular activating system? What it is, in short, is essentially the thing that filters out all the information of the world for us. It's the part of your brain that takes the sensory input from your ears and from your eyes and decides what to pay attention to. There's all this information coming in, and only a small subset of it we can focus on at a time. So the two things your reticular activation system pays attention to are threats and rewards. So for example, let's say you're in a boring lecture and then a supermodel walks in, and then all of a sudden you're not really listening or paying any attention to what's going on with the lecturer. You focus on the supermodel. Same thing happens if someone comes in with a gun. You're not going to be like, oh yeah. You're going to be, all your attention is going to be locked on there, right? So this system, every single human being on planet Earth has. Although what's interesting is the way it manifests itself is completely based on your own value system. Whatever you personally, as an individual, deem to be valuable or threatening is what we will focus on. A really interesting, perfect example of the reticular activation system in play is when you're in a really, really loud room, loads of people talking, you can't even make out what the noise is because it's just inaudible noise. And then someone says your name quietly in the distance. Someone just goes mad. And even though it's such a quiet noise compared to all the rest, you'll just filter it all out and just hear it, just like bang. You know exactly where the person said it. And that is your reticular activation system, because you have deemed your name specifically to be of value, because the obvious reason is when someone says your name, you're either needed for something or they're going to give you something or whatever. So it is programmed into your reticular activation system to be of value, worth listening and paying attention to. So some more examples. That's my favorite example, but some more examples are you buy a certain piece of clothing you just buy a certain piece of clothing, and then all of a sudden you see that piece of clothing all over the place. Other people, whenever anyone else wears your piece of clothing, you never miss it. You never miss it because, again, it's part of your reticular activation system filter. Another one would be you just see someone's face in a place that you're frequently visiting, like say that you just, for some odd reason, because they're specifically weird looking or whatever, that's not always the reason, but you pay attention to someone's face who goes to an area that you go to a lot, like let's say it's a university campus or in your local town or the shopping mall or wherever. After you've done that, all of a sudden you start seeing this person all the time at that place because you've logged their face into your reticular activating system. So this is just so fascinating to me because it really means that we're missing so much of the world. Only such a small percentage of the world is being revealed to us based on our own belief systems and our own value hierarchies. So let's now take what we know about the reticular activation system and how it works and combine it with some really interesting part of human nature, which is we constantly search for validation of our own belief system. As a human being, we'd rather see evidence that reinforces our own personal belief than have something that undermines a core held belief of ours. And that means that we're kind of personally blinding ourselves to the information that might be proving what we believe to be true to be wrong. And all we're seeing is only the evidence that's being filtered through our reticular activation system that makes us seem correct and feel good about ourselves. And the reason we don't like having our beliefs challenged is because if it's a core held belief that we have and it's challenged, then you start losing confidence in yourself because you'd be like, what other things did I believe so strongly to be true that aren't true? So it's an innate human nature to want to be right and want to feel confident in the things that we believe to be true. So how might this play out in a potentially helpful or very unhelpful way? Well, let's say some person has a belief that the world is a terrible place where everyone just fucks everyone over all the time and everyone's just horrible and everyone's just trying to out to get you. if you have that certain belief, what do you think you're going to notice with your reticular activation system as you go day to day? All you're going to see is, oh, look at him stealing that from her, or look at, you're going to notice every single time someone does fuck another person over. And what aren't you going to notice, because it's not filtered through your reticular activation system? You're not going to notice every single time someone actually does something nice, selfless, someone actually, you're not going to see the positivity in the world because you're reinforcing your previously held negative belief that the world is a terrible place. Whereas, let's say you believe the world is a beautiful place full of abundance and love and positivity. You're going to see all the positivity and beautifulness and all the stuff that reinforces that belief you have, and you're not going to be paying all the attention to all the negativity and all the bad stuff that happens day to day. And what is the name for this? This is a self-fulfilling prophecy. Your reticular activation system will be constantly generating self-fulfilling prophecies. So what prophecy are you going to decide fulfills for you? Are you going to decide one that empowers you and makes your life beautiful through a beautiful lens, or are you going to have a belief system that further makes your worldview even more negative? This is why it's so powerful not to have limiting beliefs and really assess the belief system that you have. This is why it's so important, because it's like the unknown unknowns. Because your world is not objective. You're not seeing 100% of the world. You're seeing a tiny fraction of it that you think is personally important. Let's say you're saying 5% at a time. You're focusing on 5%. 95% of the world, which could be giving evidence for so many other things, you're missing. So don't blind yourself with a limiting belief that skews that 5% into unrepresentative portion of the world. So if you like the video, make sure to like the video. If you want to see more, subscribe. Check out this other video on low and high vibration energy. It's a very similar, parallel concept governed by the reticular activation system. Hope you enjoyed the video. See you in the next one. Peace.